Tonight, the Great Falls City Commission tackles a non-discrimination ordinance, the latest from their hours-long meeting.
Plus, 2 more COVID-19 cases reported in the Great Falls School District, the latest update from school officials.
And later on the 10 o'clock news.
When tragedy strikes, you have 2 options. You're either running away from it or you're running straight to it to help those in need. I'm Annie Johnson with the full story coming up.
From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 10 o'clock news.
Thanks for trusting KRTV on this Tuesday night. I'm Tim McGonigal.
And I'm Keely Van Middendorp. First at 10, the city of Great Falls will not be adopting a non-discrimination ordinance for the LGBTQ+ community. Their decision came after more than 3 hours long work session tonight. Now, city commissioners heard public comments both for and against the proposed non-discrimination ordinance. It had been discussed since the Great Falls LGBTQ+ Center requested in July the city adopt an NDO primarily to give the LGBTQ+ community more legal protection against housing discrimination. The center claims state laws are not enough. Commissioners questioned the legality and legal consequences of adopting an NDO tonight and decided a resolution expressing support for the LGBTQ+ community would be better.
I really strongly, as Commissioner Moe said, that we can become a model community of best practices for inclusion for all protected classes, and use this as an opportunity to make those statements.
We'll need to sit down and discuss among the board of the LGBTQ Center what the next steps are and what we believe and where we're at.
And commissioners did not say when they expect to adopt a resolution. Staying in the Electric City, Great Falls Public Schools officials confirmed that they're performing contact tracing after 2 more students tested positive for COVID-19 over the weekend. The results were confirmed today. One student is from East Middle School. The other is from Paris Gibson Education Center. Superintendent Tom Moore said both students were not in school last week for a significant amount of time. He did tell MTN News this brings their total number of cases in the district to 4. Around 60 students and 2 faculty members are now in quarantine. And district officials are also working to fix a district-wide network outage. A student parent sent this to MTN after receiving the email from school officials this morning. It states the outage will impact remote learning. Moore told MTN News they are investigating what may have caused the disruption. He said they have some remote learning capabilities and they are working hard to get the system back up and running. There is no other information at this time. We'll update you as we learn more. And staying in Great Falls, Malmstrom Air Force Base officials are one step closer to starting a long-awaited project. The U.S. Air Force announced Northrop Grumman Corporation has been awarded the contract to upgrade aging weapon systems at bases, including Malmstrom Air Force Base. The work will replace the current intercontinental ballistic missile systems in 3 installations. Construction begins as early as 2023 at F.E. Warren Air Force Base in Wyoming, then moves on to Malmstrom near Great Falls, and then finally to Minot Air Force Base in North Dakota. Great Falls Chamber of Commerce President and CEO Shane Etzweiler told MTN News this was big news for Great Falls area. We've reached out to Malmstrom Air Force Base for comment. We'll hear more from officials tomorrow at 5:30. And switching gears now, we are gearing up for another cold night, but not as cold as last night. Our meteorologist Grant Garland is here to tell us more. Grant, certainly it was a night to grab the covers last night.
It definitely was. We saw temperatures last night, 28 in Great Falls, 33 in Helena, 29 in Lewistown. Now let's take a look at what we're going to see tonight. We're going to be looking at temperatures a little bit warmer than that, 33 in Helena, 37 in Great Falls, 33 in Lewistown, and 36 in Glasgow. But where are we right now? Well, we're currently seeing temperatures around 44 degrees here in the electric and capital cities, 36 in Lewistown, 49 in Havre, and 39 in Jordan. Overall, with our winds, we are looking at calmer conditions than earlier, where we were seeing 15-mile-per-hour winds in Havre, now looking at only 7, 8 in Great Falls as well as Lewistown. And over the last 3 hours, we've just been looking at a few high-level clouds, but don't worry, we are expecting for a mostly clear night. As far as the bus stop forecast goes, heads up, you're going to need to definitely have that jacket with you in the morning. Good news is that you want to wear it all throughout the day. 70-degree temperatures by the afternoon, and waking up temperatures are going to be around 40 degrees by 10 a.m., 55. Now we are looking at sunny skies tomorrow, but why? Well, stay tuned. My full forecast coming up in a couple minutes, but for now, back to you.
All right, thanks, Grant. Well, a lawsuit challenging Montana state voting law made its first appearance in Yellowstone County District Court today. The suit between the Montana ACLU against the Montana Secretary of State alleges the law suppresses Native American voters. MTN's Mitch Laggy brings us details from the courthouse.
A lawsuit challenging a 2018 Montana state voter law made its first appearance in Yellowstone County District Court on Tuesday. The suit filed by the Montana ACLU against the Montana Secretary of State's office alleges that the law suppresses Native American voters. The law, called the Montana Ballot Interference Prevention Act, made it so that one person can only collect 6 ballots from other people. The law was passed in 2018 and was given a preliminary injunction in May, stopping enforcement until further action is made in the court. The ACLU alleges that the law restricted Native American voter advocacy groups from being able to collect ballots from rural voters. The lawsuit challenges Montana Secretary of State Corey Stapleton and other Montana politicians who oversee elections. Their lawyers argue that the law cuts down on voter fraud. With the presidential election just a month away, Native American voter advocacy groups are awaiting Judge Jessica Fair's decision to know if they will be able to collect reservation ballots.
Groups like Western Native Voice and Montana Native Vote are eagerly awaiting the outcome of our trial because that will determine whether or not they can collect ballots. If they can collect ballots, then the access to the vote will be higher in Indian country and will be more easily attainable than if the law stays in place.
The trial is expected to run through the end of the week. In Billings, Mitch Laggy, MTN News.
A local hospital now has hundreds of thousands of dollars more to help improve health care for women and children. Benefic's annual Mayfair Golf Tournament and Gala fundraiser raised nearly $500,000 for the hospital's Women's and Children's Center. The center is currently under construction. Once it's complete, many of the services women and children need will be located there. The center will also have space for classes, space for medical students to work, and an outdoor therapy space for kids.
Consolidating all of that into one center in one building is truly going to revolutionize the way that women access healthcare in our community and just improve our continuity of care as a whole.
The center is expected to be complete next year. Coming up next on the 10 o'clock news, the pandemic is causing concerns for census experts.
Why they're worried for states like Montana. Next.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching the MTN 10 o'clock news.
And welcome back to the 10 o'clock news. And news around the state. Governor Steve Bullock filed a lawsuit today against the Postmaster General over what he calls unlawful changes to mail delivery. Bullock's lawsuit says the Postmaster General's actions have harmed Montanans by impeding the flow of mail, including medical prescriptions, utility bills, and other essential communications. The suit names recent changes to Postal Service policies, such as eliminating overtime pay for certain workers and changing how election mail is classified and charged. The suit also says that under the Postmaster General's orders, the Postal Service has removed mail drop boxes and dismantled large sorting machines in Montana. Governor Bullock is asking that the court declare his policy changes unlawful, as well as immediately require steps to undo the actions. And as of September, Montana ranked 48th in the nation for the census response rate. That amounts to just under 80% of households. Only Georgia and Alabama rank behind the Treasure State.
Census counts are important because it helps determine how much money your community gets from the federal government. But as Maya Rodriguez explains, this time around, experts say the census is in danger of getting those numbers wrong.
You may have gotten one in the mail or a knock on the door. For months, the Census Bureau has been counting every single person living in the United States. Even the homeless in a rural state like Montana get counted.
In the last month, we have finished and submitted census for 70 homeless people.
But this year, an accurate census count could be in jeopardy.
The census is not a dry statistical exercise.
Thomas Wolf is with the Brennan Center for Justice, which is pushing in court for an accurate census count. He says because of the coronavirus, the Census Bureau extended the deadline for in-person counting, setting it for the end of October. But then...
Suddenly then on August 3rd, the Commerce Department and the Census Bureau abruptly and without explanation said that they were going to go back to the original timeline.
The Census Bureau now plans to stop counting at the end of September, a full month earlier than planned. The agency also plans to speed up processing all the census data, though a federal judge temporarily halted the plan until there can be a court hearing later this month.
If you cut the time short, you don't have enough time to collect the data. You don't have enough time to process the data. And then you end up with real problems.
Problems that could include undercounting communities of color, like African Americans, Hispanics, and Native Americans. In response to our questions, the Census Bureau referred us to a statement which says in part, "We are taking steps and adapting our operations to make sure everyone is counted while keeping everyone safe." But census maps, updated continuously, show that's a struggle in some states. Montana, Arizona, Alabama, Georgia, and New Mexico rank at the bottom of the list, with only about 3/4 of households responding. And that can end up costing those states billions of dollars for highways, food stamps, school programs, and student loans.
When we don't participate, the money goes elsewhere.
A loss of money that can last a decade until the next census. In Washington, D.C., I'm Maya Rodriguez.
Yellowstone County has the highest self-response rate and the only self-response rate over 70%. Bighorn County had the lowest self-response rate at under 24%. All of Montana's Native American reservations had rates below 50%.
Well, temperatures tonight falling down to the mid to the 30s for most of us, 35 degrees in Hays. Don't go away. Your 7-day forecast is coming up next.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching the MTN 10 o'clock news.
And welcome back to the 10 o'clock news. Well, when one Bozeman woman heard about the Bridger Foothills fire as it was happening, she immediately thought of the animals and went into action.
MTN's Annie Johnson brings us a story of hope out of a heartbreaking disaster.
It's been 4 days since the Bridger Foothills fire broke out just north of the M. And with the fire comes devastation and great loss, but it also gives the community a chance to come together and show just how selfless people can be.
We were told by police officers that no one was going to come up and get us if we got trapped. So we knew the danger walking into it. We weren't trying to risk anybody's lives, but we also just wanted to get the animals and get out, sort of a thing.
On Saturday, 24-year-old Teresa Ball knew there were horses and other livestock in danger as the fire was quickly spreading and immediately jumped into action.
I got a call from a friend, and they didn't have a trailer to get them out, so we knew that there were some loose horses up there, so we decided to go down Jackson Creek to look for them. And as we went down there, we met a bunch of people on the way, and we got a bunch of halters and just started walking down the road.
And because of her act of kindness, Teresa and her friends were able to save countless horses and livestock that may have been caught in the fire.
I really just hope that it shares a positive message, and they know that, you know, there's a bunch of us out there that maybe don't live on Bridger Canyon Road or Jackson Creek, but we're all ready to help and jump in if need be, and honestly, you know, ready to do most anything for everyone.
And Teresa only used the resources she had.
There was ash and embers falling, and it was pretty crazy. It was super surreal. And, you know, in a way it was kind of nice that we all had masks from COVID, because we just kind of put our masks on and tried to limit our exposure in that way.
There are several ways you can still help victims of this fire by donating to the Bridger Foothills Fire Relief Fund. Reporting in Bridger Canyon, Annie Johnson, MTN News.
And the cooler weather is helping to calm fire concerns.
Here's Grant Garland with our full forecast.
All right, guys, good evening, everyone. And you're exactly right. This cooler weather is helping with that. We were able to receive a good bit of rain for a lot of us yesterday. That definitely helped try and go ahead and get some the officials to help confine some of the fires that are already sparking out. 28 degrees last night. That's what we saw. 33 in Helena. We actually broke the record here in Great Falls that was previously set back in 1962 when it was around 32 degrees. Now, today's highs typically are around 74. We got up to around 58. The record was set back at 98 degrees back in 1979, also the year that the Pirates won, as well as we saw ESPN launch on cable. 36 degrees right now in Lewistown, 44 in Helena, as well as in Great Falls. We have seen a breezy day for some overall. 26-mile-per-hour winds gusting in Havre, around 32 in Dillon, 21 in Great Falls, and 20 in Helena. Overall, yesterday we did receive almost half an inch of rain here in the Electric City, almost 6/10 of an inch of rain in Lewistown. We did receive that exactly in Havre, over an inch in Jordan, and almost 8/10 of an inch in Glasgow. That really did help with our air quality. We were looking at great qualities today. Over the last 3 hours, we've been looking at a few clouds rolling through, high-level clouds, not seeing any problems there. We should be staying clear for the rest of the night. That will also allow our temperatures to take a dive as well. As far as when our driest time of the day tomorrow will be, well, it's going to be in the evening hours, 31%. That is mild, so to speak, compared to what we have seen over the past few days before we had our rain. But we're going to be looking at hardly any winds gusting too, 5 to 10 miles an hour. Not seeing a problem there. In Jordan, you could be looking at maybe a 20-mile-per-hour wind gust here and there, but overall things should be relatively quiet. As far as our temperatures are going to be trending, we're going to be looking at them continuing to get up to around 81 degrees on Friday, 78 on Saturday, before warming up to 87 on Sunday. So it's going to be kind of like taking a hike, if you will. You can always stay weather aware by following me at meteorologist Grant Galton on social media, as well as on Twitter and on Instagram. We are looking at the weather we're seeing, all thanks to a high pressure that will continue to slowly build into the area, and it's not going to be moving hardly at all. We're going to be looking at temperatures again steadily climbing up because of the high pressure, and that will allow for us to see a lot of sunny skies, and our temperatures will also, like we just seen, will start to gradually increase instead of just spiking from one temperature to the other. Now, rain will stay off towards Colorado. We won't be seeing that. Tonight, temperatures are going to be falling down to around 33 degrees in Lewistown, 37 in Great Falls, 38 in Cut Bank, and around 36 in Glasgow. Overall, well, tomorrow as you walk out the door, you're probably going to need to have a light jacket with you, or at least something to get you through 40-degree temperatures before we quickly warm up to around 65 by 1 p.m. Sunny skies all in all. It will be a beautiful day. Overall, we're going to see temperatures around 70 degrees for the Electric City as well as the capital, 72 in Cut Bank, a little bit cooler out towards Lewistown at 66 degrees, and 68 in Jordan, warming up to 70 in Glasgow. Over the next 3 days, temperatures will again gradually increase. 75 on Thursday, sunny and nice by Friday, 81 degrees. We're going to be continuing to warm up. 78 on Saturday, 87 on Sunday, and then on Monday, this is where we're going to start to see maybe a few clouds roll in. It will be mostly sunny, but then on Tuesday, well, that's when we have the chance for an isolated shower or two as temperatures cool down to around 77 degrees.
Thanks, Grant. Still to come, it's been a long time coming, a major victory for the Harlem football team.
Details next when the 10 o'clock news continues.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching the MTN 10 o'clock news.
And welcome back to the 10 o'clock news. This weekend, Class AA football and volleyball had the go-ahead to start competition.
MTN's Isaiah Dunk tells us how the Great Falls High and CMR volleyball teams will get their first taste of unique home court advantage.
According to COVID-19 rules from Great Falls Public Schools, Yellowstone County, and Gallatin County, there won't be any visiting fans at Eastern AA volleyball games this fall, at least for now. And those half-empty gyms are a setting the Great Falls High and CMR volleyball teams have been working on.
I shut the music off. There's nobody in the gym except for us, and I reminded them that this is what it's going to be like, and I stopped talking. And literally the gym was just ridiculously dead silent.
Of course, at home games, complete silence probably won't be the situation, but the players are recognizing the benefits of that kind of practice.
Our coach has talked about how quiet the gym's going to be without all our fans and stuff, so we're trying to play without music and kind of get used to it so it's not so awkward when we do play. It helps us talk more and communicate on the court.
And when the Bison and Rustlers go on the road in the Billings and Bozeman areas without their home fans, that also creates a different scenario. The only cheering happening is against you.
I think it is going to be weird, right? So the home court advantage is going to be on a different level this year than any year before. So I think just we do a lot of pressure situations, pressure serving, pressure points, and where we need to score a game point situation, things like that. And as of right now, that's all we can really do, I think, until we get into that first away game, really.
But Coach Hiller at CMR said the situation will actually be more familiar than you'd think.
Our girls are used to creating the atmosphere themselves. They have to bring their energy because the fans aren't always here in droves like that, and so they have to create that language and that energy that we're looking in the gym. And so I don't know if it'll be as big a deal for our girls. They play this game for a whole nother entire reason. They just like to play the game.
In Great Falls, Isaiah Dunk, MTN Sports.
Well, there's a lot to celebrate in Harlem after the Wildcat football team pulled out an emotional win on Friday. Tom Wiley explains just what makes this victory so special.
The Harlem Wildcats posed for this photo after Friday night's win over Poplar, but it wasn't just any win.
Oh man, I had parents coming up to me crying after the game, you know, telling me thank you and all this stuff, and I was like, well, I only have 12 kids that are eligible to play. So we went out there with a 12-man team, and that just shows you like the heart, the dedication, and the talent that they have. And
it was Harlem's first win on the field in 5 years.
No, some of them hadn't won since junior high, like I'd said, and so you could see like the emotions coming out in the kids, and that all the hard work that we had put in, and all the stuff that I'd preached to them all summer about how they're just as deserving as anybody else to win. You know,
Harlem was once a proud football program, competing for conference titles before the turn of the century, but has since fallen on hard times. Football can be an afterthought to basketball, wrestling, and cross country.
The focus of the kids changed from wanting to be all-around athletes, playing football, running track, playing basketball, or wrestling, to wanting to specialize.
Azure played for Harlem in the early 90s. Now he's in his first year as head coach. He knows that one win doesn't make a season, but he says it's sure a good place to start.
I just want to be competitive every single night we step on the field. I used to get tired of watching 70-0 and, you know, stuff like that. It's hard to watch. It's hard to be around. But if you have kids that are out there competing and having fun, I mean, that's the reason why you coach.
Tom Wiley, MTN Sports.
And don't go away. We'll be right back.
Well, temperatures tonight, 37 degrees in Great Falls, 34 in Helena. Waking up at 40 degrees, 7 a.m. Make sure you have an extra layer on of clothes as you go throughout the day. Same with our friends in Helena. Temperatures tomorrow, 70 degrees overall in Helena and Great Falls and Glasgow. And over the next 3 days, just know that it's going to be sunny and temperatures are warming up.
Thanks, Grant. Well, a study of mice could help astronauts protect against muscle and bone density loss when in space. The experiment compared 40 mice on Earth with 40 mice in space that were genetically manipulated for muscle growth.
The mice in space lacked a molecular signaling pathway that researchers hope could prevent muscle and bone loss. Researchers found that the animals with the treatment maintained and even increased muscle and bone mass. Researchers say their results could be used to develop therapies to help astronauts with bone loss on long-term spaceflight.
Wow. So I feel like the next book should be If You Give a Mouse a Spaceship, right?
There you go.
There you go. All right, coin that.
That's all the time we
Go
have
ahead
tonight
and
at
coin
10.
it.
Be safe.
Good night.